afternoon and welcome to CVM Live, the noon edition on CVM Television, online at cvmtv.com. And remember, you can download our CVM TV Smart app from the Google Play Store. I'm Whitney Levy. There's a move to soften the perception of the security forces operation in St. James, with the National Security Minister indicating that the term state of emergency has a negative outlook on the tourism sector. CVM's Khadija Thomas has this report.
Minister Montague says the operation should be referred to as enhanced security measures. This comes after the extension of the state of emergency to May 2. Speaking to residents in St. James after a tour on Sunday, the minister said he's pleased with the changes taking place.
The highlight of my visit was when I went down to the Freeport police station, and there was a waiting area, and there were family members of those detained were in a waiting area, and I went and I sat with them. And the first thing the ladies told me, that they felt heartened that the police and the soldiers treated them well, they answered their questions, they provided clear directions, there was no disrespect, they were properly treated, and they were sitting there waiting and they were following instructions.
Montague adds that the cost of crime has an impact on the nation, but steps must be taken to protect the tourism industry, which contributes to economic growth.
Crime is a social problem. Murder does not start when that young man takes up a gun and pulls the trigger. That murder started years before in the poor education he did not get. It started in the broken home. It started in him not going to church to learn the moral underpinnings of a Jamaican. It started in the community that is just breaking apart. It is a multiplicity of factors that drive that crime.
The National Security Minister says Jamaica must acknowledge crime and take corrective steps through the enhanced security measures. Khadija Thomas, CVM Live.
Grief gripped a section of Clarendon yesterday morning after a young man reportedly chopped his elderly father to death and attempted to set the house ablaze. The man is now in police custody. Before our report from Nika Lewis, we caution that some of the information may be disturbing to some viewers.
On Saturday, a woman stabbed her sister to death in Trelawney. Lloyd Salmon saw that story, but little did he know his family would days later be rocked by a similar incident. Rose Hall Clarendon was left to grieve when a son chopped and mutilated his 73-year-old coal-burning father, Mr. Salmon, better known as Daddy Powell.
He just always telling that him and his son can't agree, and he always telling himself to run up in him and all them things there. So him just decide, say, hey, no run up in him and go on. So him just left and him alone live by that house.
This morning, I go into my house and I hear my dog barking. So when I look now, I see a guy wearing his son. I walk with one machete, me see what I learned that it's two in half. But me I wonder, why does I walk like that? Me I wonder if I go and go a bush before him father. So now, true him father said something to me yesterday. Say the guy talking some crazy stuff. He not trust him and he not trust his sleep with him in the house.
A house he went to live in after a raging family dispute in the marital home where the son lived is the very house he would be killed by his own flesh and blood.
I see the dresser over his head to his stomach. When we look, the whole inside come out, tear out completely, ribs and everything gone all over the whole place.
On my observation, I realized that he was trying to even light the place of fire because we see the gas buckle and the papers.
Neighbors say the father was seeking medical help for his son prior to the deadly encounter after he said he noticed changes in the young man who was said to be smoking marijuana in large quantities.
People have things in their mind but they're not speaking it. So you can't even know the full understanding. You have to just take what you get and work with what you get, you understand? So I don't really know what is the problem they have.
A sensible man who know acting that way and acting wild and speaking some stuff where and a sensible people are taught them something there.
Nika Lewis, CVM Live.
The Portmore Police in St. Catherine are continuing investigations into the death of a taxi operator from the parish last week. He is 32-year-old Lionel Johnson of Bendon Hill in Kitson Town. He was found Friday morning in the Bernard Lodge area with wounds to the side of his head. He was taken to hospital where he was officially pronounced dead. The relatives of some policemen who were charged by the Independent Commission of Investigations are raising questions about the pace of the court proceedings. There is concern about at least 2 policemen from Clarendon who were arrested in 2014 and have remained in custody. The government announced in late 2017 that it was replenishing funds to pay lawyers who represent accused police officers. However, some family members say little, if anything, has happened since.
From information received, the Cabinet has signed off on an agreement to pay the legal fees of the officers who were charged on work-related matters. Is it that these 2 cops from Clarendon will be languishing in jail until someone feels satisfied? Or when will they be ready to turn over the funds so that the attorneys can be properly compensated? I can tell you that whenever other police officers look at how these hard-working officers are dealt with by the system, it brings a great level of discouragement for them to go out and do their duties effectively.
Stressful or traumatic events, also known as adverse childhood experiences, may be one of the reasons persons turn to a life of crime. This was the sentiment recently shared by the head of the Department of Community Health and Psychiatry at the University of the West Indies, Dr. Wendell Abel. Abel says adverse childhood experiences include abuse, neglect, intimate partner violence, substance abuse, parental separation, and an incarcerated household member.
The type of behavior could be, on one hand, where the child actually displayed what we call acting out behavior. Yeah. Sometimes we refer to that as a bad child, when in truth and in fact, these are not bad children. They may very well be sad children, or for some children, they're exposed to these stresses, these adverse child events. They may actually become withdrawn.
Abel says these experiences will have a long-term impact on the child's development, as it can lead to social problems as adults.
Some of them may engage in risky behaviors, such as engagement in aggressive, violent, criminal activity. Some of these children may go on to use and abuse drugs, suicidal behavior, which is a concern, of course, in our society.
The Orocabessa Police in St. Mary are investigating the tragic death of a 78-year-old retired street sweeper who was on Sunday run over by at least 2 motor vehicles. Reports are that the victim, Capet Miller, who is of a Stewart Town St. Mary address, was walking along the roadway on the left-hand side of the road when she was reportedly hit from behind by a motorcycle whose driver allegedly lost control in the wet tar and hit the woman onto the roadway. She was immediately hit by 2 vehicles traveling behind the motorcycle heading towards Port Maria. The driver of the motorcycle fled the scene, leaving the motorcycle, and the second vehicle that hit Miller did not stop, also fleeing the scene. Only the third vehicle stopped. It happened about 6:30 p.m. on Sunday. Corporal A. Davis of the Motor Traffic Section at the Orocabessa Police Station is investigating the matter. CVM Live understands the area where the incident happened has had a reputation for violence towards motorists in Breach, and it is also said the community was poorly lit. There was another traffic pileup issue. This one happened just outside St. John's Road below Green Acres in the vicinity of Dovecot Memorial. A number of funeral ceremonies were taking place in the afternoon, which led to chaos as there was no police supervision. Motorists were actually stranded for hours in the traffic. The police were contacted and they arrived an hour or 2 after. It led to people abandoning their motor vehicles, similar to what obtained on the Palisades roadway on New Year's Day. Managing Director of Flow Jamaica, Stephen Price, is calling for the introduction of cybersecurity legislation similar to what is commonly called the Sarbox Law in the United States, which set new or expanded requirements for all U.S. public company boards, management and public accounting firms. Mr. Price believes a similar law in Jamaica would push businesses to invest in robust cybersecurity practices. He was addressing the recent Jamaica Stock Exchange Regional Investments and Capital Markets Conference. Price noted that the U.S. Act was designed to renew investor trust after the collapse of corporate giants and the demise of one of the U.S.'s largest corporate entities. He argues that Jamaica is at a similar point of collapse of public trust in large international corporations due to increased cyber attacks, including identity theft. He was quick to highlight, though, that curbing cybercrime was not simply dependent on new legislation, but had to be. In an effort to get more females involved in golf, the Caymanas Pro Golf Series was launched at the Caymanas course. The event is the brainchild of IPL General Manager Major Desmond Brown. According to Brown, with help from the private sector, the event, which offers prize money from $50,000 for first all the way down to 10th, will be around well into the future.
So this event is the start. We hope to expand it in the future. We start with 6 tournaments every other month, starting this month, and we hope it will go well. I say to the players, a lot will depend on them, how well they play, so we have to encourage to get more sponsors on board, because running a golf tournament is not cheap.
The event, which is also opened to professional golfers as well, will be played in February, April, June, August, October and December, and it is a wonderful addition to the local calendar, according to Senior Tournament Director David Mays. The February tournament ends today at Caymanas Country Club.
The caddies in Jamaica, there are over 500 of them that are active now. They will have a great opportunity of playing for some decent prize money at last. And more than that, Desmond, I think the fact that the caddies are now understanding that we are giving them support is a very significant thing, because they now see that sponsors, that the minister, that this organization, this group, are getting behind an event to make them better.
The event is a joint venture between the Sports Development Foundation, the Jamaica National Group, and the Ministry of Sports, Culture, Entertainment and Gender.
The Jamaica Pro Golf League Series that will be held here at the Caymanas Golf Course may very well form part of that impetus to catapult Jamaica towards the top of the sport. It's a small but giant step. And I have already coined a phrase, from the grassroots to the world. I know that the Professional Association and the Jamaica Golf Association have been working together, and this particular effort should boost the drive to get our local players and caddies the kind of exposure required to push the sport forward. The participation of established professionals from across the globe will also serve to give the local game the exposure required to attract more professionals as well as their families to Jamaica, adding to the wonderful mix of sport and tourism.
Sports Minister, the Honourable Olivia Grange, says she's confident of a podium finish for Jamaica in the bobsleigh competition at the Winter Olympic Games, which will take place in Pyeongchang, South Korea from February 9 to 25. The minister's optimistic assessment came after her video conference with the team members Jasmine Fenlater-Victorian, Carrie Russell and Audrey Segre, who are the first Jamaican women to qualify for the bobsleigh competition at the Olympics. The competitors, Campbell and Dudley Stokes, spoke with Minister Grange and bobsled President Chris Stokes from South Korea.
I find that the girls are highly motivated. I was happy that I had a chance to interact with them. I am confident that the team is ready, that the head of the delegation has things under control, that Tal Stokes, who is the I would say the head coach or the power behind the coaching team is very confident.
Team captain Dudley Stokes, team leader, is really there with the athletes now and is making them familiar with the history and the responsibility that they have as the first women team and coming on the 30th anniversary. And as part of that, it was important that they speak with Minister Grange to get a sense of where we're coming from, what it means for sport, but also for gender equality as the first